Today's show is Rainbow Warriors.
This is a visit with a person of high strangeness. My name is Elijah Sanchez, and I will be your tour guide for today.
Hey, it's a wonderful opening, Elijah. How old are you?
I am 14.
14. Do you remember how you ended up doing this show for us?
Yeah. You asked me to do the show for you
Do you remember why?
because we had a talk.
Do you remember what we talked about?
We talked about life.
Yeah, life.
Yeah.
Totem poles.
Totem poles and spirit animals. And Mother Nature.
And I said, I have just a thing for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's really wonderful that you're our host today. At such a young age, what made you want to talk about these things?
I don't know, it's just really what I'm interested in, and I don't really know.
You don't really know. You came here and you knew more than I did, remember?
Yeah.
You said you had a friend?
A friend, Paris? Yeah. He was native, he is Sioux. And they did sun dances, and I thought it was interesting, and just like how the sun dances worked and his native culture.
So what you know about that, and what the rest of the family does, do you think that collides, or can you work that together?
The family? His family?
No, your family.
What about my family?
Well, you're a little different.
Yeah.
In your line of thinking.
Yeah. They don't really think the same as I do. I don't know really why. Like, I think about like how could I put it? Like,
Loud?
I think that like everything around us is living, and we should respect that, and that not that many people show respect for trees, plants, and animals, and they're living just as we are.
Yeah, that's how the whole thing started, right?
Yeah.
But you don't remember why you think like that, do you?
I don't know why I think like that, but I just guess I do.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and then the other thing I had asked you was if what you wanted to be when you got all done with school.
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
And I thought that was interesting because you ask an 18-year-old, what do you want to be? Might have a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we got an insert, and the insert deals with a man named Benny LeBeau is his name, and his native name is Blue Thunder.
Yeah.
And you watched the insert already, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now there comes a time when you saw those crystals.
Yeah.
There is a dark one. And I went to a place, and as I was coming to the door, that crystal called me. And I stopped, and that's how I met him. Have you ever had trees and stuff call you?
No.
No? Were you listening?
No, I wasn't listening.
You wasn't listening. Sometimes you can walk, and some say, look down. And there's a beautiful rock or something. Got to pick it up, right? That ever happens?
No.
No? Did you tell me you only learned about these things, what, in 3 weeks in school? But you learned about, what else was it? Loud. It was black holes and ley lines,
yeah,
right?
Black holes.
Black holes. So this is a two-part story. So this week and next week. And next week we're going to talk about ley lines and things like that. So you understand that, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Isn't that cool? So take a guess. How many 14-year-olds do you think understand this?
Not that many.
Not that many, yeah. So that's why you're the host today. Yeah.
Yeah.
We getting ready to show this insert. Was there anything that you saw here a few minutes ago that you wanted to use as an introduction?
On the video? Let me think.
30 seconds in TV land's a long time. It's fast.
Well, I thought like it was cool how they use the crystals to connect with the earth, how they put their thoughts and prayers into them.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be good for an introduction.
Yeah. So it'll be a good clip. But you know, it was too long. So when I met this man, he gave this to me and he told me to use it. Originally he was supposed to be here on the 1st of December, but he went into the woods somewhere and I haven't heard from him since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You come from Indian land too, don't you?
Yeah, I come from South Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Sioux area.
Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of friends, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do the native children go to school with you, or is it like here?
They come to school with us if they live like not on the reservation.
Oh.
Because if they live on the reservation, then they go to school there.
Oh, yeah. Whereas here, it's everything's separated.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Gets cold in South Dakota, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Blue Thunder is from Wyoming. He's from the Paiute Reservation. He is a Shoshone. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's pretty much the same. We're gonna have a powwow here next month. You going?
Yeah. I'll go.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna do is we're going to play the insert and then tell them we see you later.
Okay.
We'll see you later.
We'll see you later.
In many indigenous cultures of the world, it is prophesied that a time would come when the earth would become sick because of man's greed. The people, having forgotten that our Mother Earth is sacred. At this time, a new tribe will gather from all nations, known as the Warriors of the Rainbows. They will be mankind's key to survival and will remember through the ancient wisdoms on us. Aho.
Think of all the things that this mountain needs. You've lived here for so long, you know the healing that it needs. All of the bad things that's happened here needs to be erased. These are the messages of the Great Spirit. You can do this with sound and vibration. Mother Earth, be with us. Come forth.
My name is Gina Weiss, and I've lived in Big Bear for 20 years. And we were in our 6th year of drought in 2004.
We've had droughts in Big Bear. I mean, it's part of our ecosystem. But the trees didn't die like this year, this last drought. That was so alarming. That was the thing that made this drought different. This is something I've never seen. We were to the point where it was very frightening. And I noticed little things like the ants. All of a sudden, there are no ants in the trees. Their mounds in the forest are empty, or there would just be a few left and they would be dying. This is a part of the healthy ecosystem of our forest. No matter how small the creatures are, they're really important to the entire full scope.
We had at least a good 7-year drought, and things were pretty sparse even before that. And I think a lot of our aquifers kind of dried up. At least that's my assumption.
Our lake was, 15, 18 feet down.
And even after a decent snow, it still stayed down.
We had the experience the year before of evacuating. The entire mountaintop was evacuated for 4 to 5 days because there was wildfire that actually came within 8 miles of Big Bear. Our community was looking for ways to solve the drought problem. The City Council, along with the water agencies, the Department of Water and Power and the Big Bear City Community Services District, the Regional Wastewater Agency, and even the ski area, Snow Summit, had all voted and agreed to spend quite a bit of money to cloud seed so that we could help our drought and get some water to the trees and in the lake. It was actually going to be $500,000 over the course of 3 years. It was $166,000 a year. I had some objections to it, largely because it's toxic, but actually my first objection to the cloud seeding was the fact that at best it was supposed to improve the water, the precipitation, 5 to 10% over what we would have had normally. And as far as I was concerned, 5 to 10% of very little is even less. So it didn't even seem cost effective. Then we found out when Joe Bradley did the research how toxic it was, and then it was completely unacceptable.
Hi, my name's Joe Bradley. I'm a 15-year resident of Big Bear Valley. I'm a physics teacher at the high school. I worked for a while as a wildlife ecologist in the 1980s. I love this valley and I love this land, and I've been real concerned. The forest isn't as healthy as the forest needs to be. We've had years and years of drought, bark beetle infestation, a fire that actually threatened, the entire valley. The plan of the leaders of our valley to seed the clouds for 3 winters in order to bring about more rainfall. At the time when I heard of this, I thought if it is something that'll bring us rainfall, I guess that's okay. But when I talked to Blue Thunder about this proposition, he mentioned to me that the cloud seeding is poison, that they would use poison to seed the clouds, and it would poison the land, and it would poison the animals and the trees and the plants and the microorganisms and the people, and so I was very concerned. So I started researching about cloud seeding. I, prior to that, had known very little, and through countless hours of research, I found out several things. Number one, the cloud seeding doesn't really work at all. There's not been one scientific study done in the last 50 years that showed cloud seeding was effective at all in increasing rainfall. I guess the sure sign of that is the American Meteorological Society. I found out that as a whole, they came out and said that they do not support cloud seeding as an effective means for controlling weather at all. In fact, they said it could just as easily limit rainfall as increase rainfall. The silver iodide is the chemical that would be used to seed the clouds. And I found that even though the cloud seeding company was saying that silver iodide was not a poison at all, the state of California lists it as a hazardous material, a type 1 hazardous material. You can't dispose of it. It's considered a poison. It's a priority pollutant by the EPA. So our own Environmental Protection Agency lists silver iodide as a priority pollutant, and yet that's the chemical that this cloud seeding company was going to drop over this beautiful valley. Getting information from the company, I found that they said it was insoluble, that it wouldn't dissolve in water. And then I found out that their chemistry was off a bit, that if you have a lot of water, like this body of water that we have here at Big Bear Lake, we could actually immediately dissolve perhaps as much as 660 pounds of the substance. In doing so, the fish that live in the lake would take in this poison. We have bald eagles that now live year-round on this lake, and they would eat the fish. And so that was a great concern of mine. There's also spotted owls, another endangered species that lives in this valley, and they would also be subjected to that. Should we seed our clouds with silver iodide, the substance, even if it didn't dissolve in the water, would then land on leaves and plant vegetation that animals would eat. And as soon as they would eat that, it would instantly dissolve in the acidic environment in their stomach. So that all these animals, whether they drank the water that was now polluted or not, would be taking in these poisons nonetheless. There were studies done by the National Park Service, the U.S. Biological Service, and the World Health Organization. And all 3 studies came out and said that not only does it not work, but where in areas where we have cloud seeded, we've found these toxins in the animals that live there. The Santa Ana Quality Control Board that controls the water from Big Bear Lake all the way to the Pacific Ocean, and they came out in agreement and said that all of these accusations, all of these statements about what could happen are truth. And they declared that if our valley went ahead with this plan of seeding the clouds, that the Santa Ana Quality Control Board would pull all of their funding, which amounted somewhere between $2 and $4 million per year. With that being the case, thank goodness, our valley decided that we would abandon the plan for cloud seeding and trying to increase rainfall with silver iodide.
When Journey to the Heart put on a conference called The Gathering down at Jenks Lake near Big Bear, that day, which was September 9th, it was pouring, and it had not rained here in months. I later checked the newspaper and there was absolutely no weather predicted. But on the drive down, I thought, somebody's doing something. Somebody down there knows what's going on. Because the gathering is a conference of indigenous healers and wisdom keepers from all over the world. It occurred to me to ask who here knows most about calling the rain. And I was directed to Blue Thunder.
My name is Blue Thunder with the Eastern Shoshones, Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming, working to help bring the visions and the dreams to all nations and all cultures. The reason that I came here was because I was invited by the Journey to the Heart organization that invited 30 indigenous healers from around the world to come speak about how the earth works. So they heard of this ceremony that I did right here, called the 19 plus 1 equals 20. We call it the Magnificent. Here's those 19 sacred sites. There's 19 of these points in the sacred sites, the mountains and the energy places where the energy crisscrosses and goes through. It's called a medicine wheel. That circle is 1,200 miles this way, 1,200 miles that way. What the earth was made of is electrical magnetic energy and these grid lines. So those energy lines get gnarled and knotted and stuck, or they disappear altogether. And then those are dead zones. So if there's a dead zone on the body, it will turn to decay and it'll be rotten flesh and green. So on the earth, the same thing happens. Electrical magnetic energy was disconnected because of the mining, the railroads, any development, housing developments that dig holes in the earth. Those holes leak light. Everything is affected by thoughts and actions on the earth. The earth holds harmonic sound. Vehicles, bulldozers, and other types of machinery go out there and break the rock. That sound goes into the rocks. Now everything does not vibrate in harmony. In 2002, the scientists were now saying in Yellowstone, underneath Yellowstone Lake, there was a caldera that had risen 10 stories tall. What had happened because of the bad vibration and sound, on the opposite side of the world is the Caspian Sea. Around the Caspian Sea is Iran and Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, bombing, shaking the earth. So that vibration goes all the way through the earth, touches Yellowstone, and vibrates. So the cracks of the earth vibrating and close. Now the caldera is rising, getting ready to explode because of bad sound and bad vibration. In our tribal nations, we have a story that's called the butterfly effect. If a butterfly flips its wings on one side of the earth, it will be felt on the opposite side. That's how sensitive Mother Earth is to sound. And the scientists were saying that if the Yellowstone blew, it would be 200 times the size of what Mount St. Helens was. They mentioned that the cloud of dust would have went around the earth and blocked out the sun for 2 years. The dreams and the visions came to me and told me to get out of college. They said, your real degree is in the rock art, in the canyons, and the valleys, and you're to go there and get the real wisdom and the knowledge. So I went into the petroglyphs and the rock art canyons, and in these areas, the rock art began to teach me about the circle ceremonies called medicine hole ceremonies, which are the same writings that were in Grand Teton area in Wyoming and other areas. What I've learned to bring the water back through the ceremony that was written in a rock art, this one right here. This ceremony has been written in the rocks for 6,000 years. This is the earth, or these are the 4 mountain peaks in the Grand Tetons. And the earth stands in balance with the grid lines, the energy lines of Mother Earth. These energy lines is what hold us together. And the message from Mother Earth came and she said, tell the people of the earth, my children, come together in peace and harmony and sit on the sacred sites and sing their songs together and praise the creation of Mother Earth and thank her and thank the Great Spirit God. And when you do this, and the people will come, the volcano will go to sleep and will not explode. And so I traveled for many months, from November 2003 until May 8th of 2004, asking the tribal nations to help the white people, the black people, and the yellow people. And when I went to these mountains, I had to recharge them with crystals, sacred stones. In the Grand Tetons, we had 300 people arrive here. And in these other places, there was anywhere from 250 to 25 people. And the message was, if only one person went here, that would be all that would be needed to put the volcano to sleep. And it happened. So on May 8th, we were to vibrate the earth for 24 hours with songs. So when we did this for 24 hours, the volcano went to sleep. And those cracks opened up, and then the geysers began to go again. And then the pressure was alleviated in Yellowstone. The rain and the snow and some of the springs would open in this big circle. On June 3rd of 2004, the scientists in Yellowstone National Park were having a meeting about what would happen to the volcano, and they were going to show all their seismic graphs. When I got there, They were now called the tribal nations together, and we're wanting them to do more vibration and sound in Yellowstone National Park as we had alleviated the problem. We can repair the earth and reconnect these electrical magnetic energies through the sound and vibration. Drumming here in the middle, send out these waves like this. Every time I hit the drum, it's electrical energy. My thoughts is electrical energy. When I hit that drum and I put my thoughts in, my thoughts go out and it fixes things because it's prayer. So if we can fix this volcano, what else can we fix with thoughts and prayers and sound and vibration? So we did this with sound and vibration and love and thought forms. The earth holds such powerful sound that she is alive and she's real. She's conscious. She's a living organism.
Right after this, Blue Thunder came up and decided to help us do a healing of the mountains here. That through the years of mining and road building and construction, that we've actually disrupted the ley lines of the land.
When Blue Thunder came, he came with an open heart, and he came with a willingness to share and to empower that we really all can take a role. Blue Thunder was such a gift to our community because he brought this wisdom that came from his ancestors and from what he had learned in life that was really his passion. And he brought not only the wisdom, but he brought his deep love and his deep heart for nature and for understanding and working with the earth.
So on October 26th, we did a training with about 25 people by the lake in Big Bear, where Blue Thunder explained to us about the vibration and the energy grid and how all of this worked.
The laws are not structured to protect the environment. The laws are structured to make money. The laws are structured to cut the trees down. The laws are structured to pipe the water. And it's up to us to change these things in the new laws and regulations to understand what's happening with the earth. We have to be one with the planet. This is what the Native Americans understood. So the trees talked to us because they had a vibrating message. There's the rocks, the grass, so on and so forth. And Mother Earth has a spirit, so she communicates to us also. We are part of everything. Powerful energy was upon the surface of the planet. Right now that energy has been dimmed. And Mother Earth can change all things and put it back into working effect immediately. But what will happen was catastrophes will have to take place and the humans will be hurt. The rocks hold the crystalline matrix together, which is called the ley lines. So if you pick up any rock out there and move it back and forth in the sunlight, you see like little diamond sparkles in there. That's the energy that holds things together. And when highways come in and cut the surface of the planet, it disconnects those energy lines. So what we're going to do now is put these lines back together. So the earth has been imaged with bad vibration. It's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. This sound is this. Heartbeat. This is the heartbeat of the universe. Scientists have found that there's a thudding sound in the universe going. That sound connects to the drum, connects to the heart, connects to the universal presence. We connect the energies back to the surface of the planet, we fix the energy lines that come back together. So this is why we smudge, this is why we use the drum. In the medicine well ceremonies, we go to those mountain peaks and we energize them with sacred stones, crystals, and those things pull high light, high energy, and reconnect the energy back to the sacred peaks or to the areas that were developed and disconnected. These ceremonies that we're doing will vibrate the earth and will repair the cells of the earth. The sound pulls the ley lines together. With the vibration of the drum and the vibration of our tools and our voices and speaking in peace, we'll image the earth again with sacred purity again, and then the ley lines go back together. That the snow will come back in and the rain will come back in.
The forecasts, for the winter were not supposed to be a winter of much rainfall at all. But as soon as we started training for our ceremony, our sacred ceremony, medicine wheel ceremony, we had a snowfall of 2 feet, and this was in October.
People that were looking out the window were actually seeing the spirals coming in and anchoring into the lake. What was forecasted was a very large snowstorm way, way, way up north, an Alaskan storm. And that one they couldn't track anymore, they lost it, and I believe we got it because we got 2 feet of snow and the ski slopes opened a month early in October. Normally they're very happy if they open on Thanksgiving weekend. Blue Thunder set up this amazing medicine wheel ceremony. So between then October 26th and November 15th, Blue Thunder was traveling around to these 8 other sites on the spoke. And organizing people and training them at those areas. On November 15th was the day that we did the giant medicine wheel ceremony, where everyone was at the 9 sites simultaneously from sunup most of the day. And we had, amazingly, for a town this size, for this little community, we had about 65 people at our hub site here in Big Bear out on the lake. Then after the medicine wheel ceremony, we wanted to have a celebration so that we could get everybody from all the sites together and we could share our information and our experiences. And we set up a dinner and a wonderful celebration on the 20th. Many of us were kind of praying that there would not be heavy snow until we had our celebration so people could get up here to the mountain from the other areas. And that worked. We were good at that. But on the 20th, where we had this wonderful gathering of people, and we had Aztec dancers from Los Angeles, a family of 11 that were just wonderful, and we had people from all over from different cultures. It was amazing.
It was just a marvelous ceremony, and it was probably about 9 p.m. that night that Jola looked outside and said, "It's snowing, and it's snowing hard." When that snowfall stopped, we again had a 2-foot snowfall.
The children from the Aztec dancers were outside screaming because they had never seen snow. It snowed so heavily that within an hour or so we pretty much had to tell everybody, "You're not going anywhere." Where we did really ask that we not have snow so they could come up, we forgot to ask that it be delayed until they got down the mountain.
As the winter progressed, it turned out to be the second wettest winter in history in Bear Valley. And this all happened after all the predictions were that we were in the most severe drought with no end in sight.
Then we have had precipitation throughout the winter, very heavy precipitation, such that the lake, which had been 17 and a half or 18 feet down before we started all of this work, by April or so was full, absolutely full.
It got within 1 inch of the top.
That's the unique thing now. If you look at that lake right now, it's full, because we haven't had what you might call, any big torrential rains or anything like that. You say, well, it just filled up because of what happened 2 weeks ago.
After last year and the ceremonies with Benny LeBeau, the water came back, and I noticed also the ants came back. Some were different breeds of ants. However, they're back in the trees again. They're coming back, and that's a hopeful thing. Ants can be considered a pest, but actually, they are important.
Fred was mentioning to me when he was a kid, he used to go down into Holcomb Creek and fish. We kind of joke about that because for the last probably 10 or 15 years, I don't think I haven't seen a fish down in there, but I know people fish.
Well, we were lucky to see water.
Yeah, and this year the beaver are back down in there. The beaver ponds are full, and we actually saw some trout down there, and that was the 1st of November, which is really rare. Whenever we do encounter wildlife right now, it's kind of a real blessing for us. We kind of stop and appreciate, whereas before we'd be yelling and maybe shooting a gun or whatever, but now it's like, you know what, we better take care of these people. They have a certain element that we need, I think this time of the year, normally we see things pretty well dried up. Lake or pond generally by this time of year would be dry.
Be dry.
Yeah, and it's full. Some of the backcountry roads still have water running down them. The seeps are still flowing. We ran into one yesterday that was not only flowing, it was actually spurting water. And we haven't seen anything like that for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
But the water is clear. The spring that comes out of that particular camp there, it's just crystal clear.
Cold and drinkable, just great.
The other thing we noticed, particularly yesterday, I noticed that there were a lot of birds. Generally, we don't see that many birds, small birds, large birds flying. The interesting thing is they have water now, whereas this time of year, when the water source dries up, they usually leave the area. A lot of these creeks that Fred and I either walk over or ride over, even on the valley floor here and then up a little bit higher, are still running. And that's kind of odd for us. In the 25 years that I've been here, this time of year it would be really, really rare to see water even trickling in some of these places.
Yeah, usually it's just potholed up and and maybe a spot where it's coming right out of the ground, and the creek down below would be completely dry. This year the creek's running right on down all the way through. Especially that creek we were at yesterday, that thing dries up right off the bat, and it's been watered all summer long.
And it's nice to see the water staying for longer periods of time.
After the medicine wheel, Blue Thunder explained to me that the work had really just begun, and that there was a lot of work that he would like to do around the entire valley that would really bring this grid together. And that's how we got him back out here this year.
Here's the Big Bear Medicine Home. Here's Big Bear Lake. Here's those 8 points on the outside. This area from Big Bear Lake where we did the ceremony goes out 120 miles out. Now these points right here, these are 4 points vibrating together with sound, and us in the middle. So there's the Big Bear people who were vibrating with the drums and singing songs and asking for prayers or sending circles out. The drum, every time you hit the drum, your thoughts went out. Electrical energy vibrating, healing all the negative things that happened on the earth, fixing it. Those out here, we're doing the same, sending it in. We were sending it out. They're sending it in. We're sending it out. It's going up. Okay, here's all 8 of them vibrating together. Look at all these energy lines reconnecting. This is the flower of life. Bringing the water. Water went way out, went all the way to Las Vegas. This is how the water works, the vibration, the springs and everything. Right now there's been many springs that has opened in Big Bear. A lot of you know about this. Why have they opened? Because of this. I also predicted last year that when the snow came, I predicted that there'd be no snow this year. And I had mentioned also why. Because the vibration and the sound that's going on in this valley will disconnect all the work that we did. Most of it, I shouldn't say all of it. 3/4 of it. But the springs would still try to work. Now what I've been asked to do was to help bring more water and snow here. So I've been here for almost 2 months working and studying the earth again, looking at these peaks on the top of Big Bear to help energize the earth again. Okay, this is what we're doing right now. Reharmonizing the peaks around Big Bear. Tip Top, Onyx, Sugarloaf, Grand View, Crafts, John Doe Flats, Hawes, South Peak, and Silver Peak, and Keller. And then the last one that we'll be doing will be in the center. So we're going up here, a lot of the devastation of the mining and development around this area has disconnected the energy here the last 100 years, almost 200 years. And when they disconnect the electrical energy, well, what we have is this we're going through now. No more water because there's no snow. So what I'm doing is using crystals, and these hold high energy, white light. So when I vibrate the drum, and the energy shoots in here and charges the mountain, and stores the energy back in there and prepares those peaks. That's what I'm doing on all those peaks. This is old age, old wisdom, so now it's coming back to many of us how to energize the earth and the world with these sacred stones. These lodestones are genetic magnets that hold the earth together. So I use these to repair the earth and the grids with these crystals. I'm a crystal. This is a crystal. The water is a crystal. The clouds is a crystal. The oxygen. So we have been made to download, to manifest our thoughts on earth to make what we need, all through the crystalline grid. This is how things work. So we're getting ready to harmonize for the water and the snow that the springs for the next season. Healing Mother Nature, for Mother Nature to heal, to sustain life here, which is the grass, the trees, the rocks, the animals. You know, all of us are working together now to bring clarity and wisdom of what happened to the earth. The development on this mountain is causing this electrical energy to short circuit from the mountain. It's turning it into a dead zone. And electrical energy is a conductor to the water, to the springs, and to the rain. The trees hold 300 and 400 gallons of water. How much gallons of water do we hold in our blood? It's the same and similar. That tree came here to give us oxygen, and its roots go into the earth. And the tree gathers electrical energy from the sunlight and the wind and generates electrical energy into the earth. And that's the importance of the trees. So if we cut the trees down, the light leaks out of the trunk. And then the energy is leaking out of the earth. Well, it's easy to fix, and that's with our hands. It has electrical energy. Stick it on the end, ask it to heal and seal. The nerve endings, it's leaking the light, and then it seals and stops. Then you seal the light. Now the tree turns healthy.
So looking back into history, many people died down here in this flat. The Chinese, the indigenous nations, Mexicans, whites, blacks, and the yellow nations. Their spirits are still trapped in the soil. The earth images all the sound like a videotape recorder, and it's being replayed over and over. So you see the battle still going on. Their spirit is there. Electrical magnetic energy, the vibration of what they were doing when they died. And they were never released with prayers and great thoughts. And so this is the energy that needs to be cleared from this valley, that is negative energy, and that's what we came here to heal. We're told in our tribal nations, when we cook food, not to put our thoughts of anger and hatred on the food. As you're stirring the pot and cooking the food, your thoughts are bombarding the food, whether you know it or not. So you're mad and you're stirring that, thinking maybe ugly things. Maybe, I wish that person would get in a car wreck and die, or I hate that person, or whatever it may be, of the emotions. So that thought goes into the food, vegetables, meat, whatever it is, because in that pot is water. The meat is water. The vegetables is water. The water is a great conductor of electrical energy, so our thoughts is electrical energy, and we shoot them out like rays. When we eat the food, the people become sick, stomach aches, illnesses and sicknesses can happen, anger and hatred, whatever the thoughts were that was put in the food. Now if someone went there and put great thoughts on the food and blessed it, cleared it, then it's full of white light and electrical magnetic energy. We as indigenous knowledgeable people like myself carry this wisdom. So they try to call us medicine men or shamans, or we don't call ourselves that. We call ourselves professors of knowledge of the earth. So what I do is I ask this plant to be blessed by the sun, the creator. This is white sage. So we're given this plant to use. So when I ask the Great Spirit to bless this, which is the white light, the electrical energy, in my thoughts, I ask it to put the message of peace and love on the earth, and it goes into this plant. Just like water. If I put my thoughts on water and tell it to be love, peace, and harmony, then that's what it is. So my thoughts are on this, and I offer this to the Great Spirit. That nothing but love, peace, and harmony, and giving thanks and gratitude to the earth. So I give this offering, and I spread it on the earth. Because I'm making white light. You may not see it, but some people can see, and they see, there's white light. It's sprinkling. It's like stardust on the earth. Why is that? Because I charged it and put white light on it. How did I do that? Because I'm in peace, and I have white light that went on here. Now it's there. So that sealed it. Now I can dig a hole, and it won't leak the light. So what we're going to do is reset the earth because of the mining and development and sound and vibration today. So my vibration goes into these crystals. I have a high charge of energy, but they've already been charged by the sun for I don't know how many days of laying in the sun, so they gather light, just white light. And I come and put my thoughts in them, so I ask them to bring harmony to the earth to help release the spirits that are locked in the earth in bondage. So we're going to release many things today. How to do this, how to do that. That's what everybody's fighting over. How to do this, how to do that. You're wrong. Well, there's no wrong way. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. There's only just get it done, and it is. That's all. There'll be a lot of vibration, and you're going to feel it going on. And it's vibrating. So the prayers are on that. All these piles of stones that were around here, it has prayers on them. I put my prayers on here. I put it in the stone, and I put my thoughts here, and my prayers are in the stone because this holds memory. It holds energies. My thoughts are in this. If 1,000 people come put their prayers right here, then that thing magnifies with a bunch of white light and energizes out into the land. And what it's energizing is those thoughts. So that's what will manifest in the area. That's the importance of the piles of those prayer stones that are left around the canyons and the peaks and the piles. That's what the tribes are doing. When the earth went out of balance, they went up there and fixed it. Not with greed, ego, anger, or hatred, but only peace and love, because they knew if they had those kinds of thoughts, there would be wars and fighting. So they only wanted purity, so they only put great thoughts, because all this stone is crystal. This is crystal, so this held all of our prayers and our thoughts today. So this whole place is vibrating with our thoughts and our prayers now to enhance what we need to bring forth peace and love and freedom in the valley.
We were coming down off of John Bull Flats after we had gone to the top of John Bull Mountain, and we'd had our medicine wheel ceremony. The whole area was holes in the ground, maybe 30 feet in diameter and 10 or 15 feet deep, where these guys just came along and just poked holes in the ground and got down to the bedrock and were panning for gold. It was a mining community, and these holes in the ground where they were living must have been a terrible way of making a living, thinking that you're going to strike it rich. It was so full of negativity, you could feel it. It was just a blighted area. I don't know how else to explain it. Benny actually started feeling bad and was sick for a couple of days after we'd went through there. We've ridden through there every summer for the last 20 summers, and I never even thought of it. We just ride through there, and it's just something. But being with Benny and being around him, and now becoming more aware of the earth and our surroundings.
I would concur with Fred with regard to being sensitive to some of these areas. You can actually feel the energy. When you pay attention, you can feel the energy. When we ride through certain places, Fred and I will talk about that. Did you feel that? Did you see that? What's the sense here? And we kind of talk a little bit about it. Some of our friends think we're a little bit crazy, but that's okay.
While approaching this point, we found this tree up there that has a lightning strike. The lightning comes in from the thunder beings, and whichever color the lightning comes in shows the importance of what needs to go back into the earth. If it strikes pink, it's sending love into the earth. If it's blue, it's sending wisdom. If it's green, it's bringing new life. So there's 13 colors of lightning. Thunderbirds, thunder beings we call them. This is the energy of the colors of the rainbows. Like a tuning fork shaped like a Y at the top. That holds vibration. It was used to restore some energy that was needed here. So the tree sacrificed itself. You can see where the lightning went down the side of the tree. The lightning restores electrical magnetic energy into the earth. That restores the earth and puts it into balance. It resets the heartbeat and also resets the electrical magnetic vibration. I wanted to show the importance of these stones. You know, these stones hold electrical energy because they're made of crystal. So you might be able to see the reflection in this rock. So when the electrical lightning and the charge hits the earth here, it recharges everything to put the charge back in. And that's why it's so important. This is a very sacred site. It needs to be protected so much because these are what holds the earth together. If these are disconnected from the earth, it causes droughts, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, etc. across the earth. All of nature that's causing the havoc now is cleansing the earth. The charges of nature coming is fixing earth. And for us, when we do our ceremonies, we can recharge the earth to begin to soften the blow of nature that's coming. Now it's time for us to go back to work and love Mother Earth. For these stones listen with consciousness, like the earth, the wind, and the fire. All has consciousness. This rock has negative energy, so today when we do the ceremony, we change that thought forms from the bicyclers being up here who may have partied, angered, fought, argued, took the land out of harmony with their thoughts. Who knows what took place here for 500 years? Whatever took place here, we're going to clear all that from here today with our sound, our thoughts, and our vibration with the drums of doing this crystal ceremony. Have an open mind and an open heart to understand how these crystals work, and we used them in the past to heal the earth. Many blew up the earth in times of Atlantis by using these crystals. Many of our people remember, and that's why we're told not to use these crystals if we don't know what we're doing. I've had dreams and visions about these crystals and how to use them. The Cherokees have a lot of messages about crystals, so they still work with crystals a lot. So do the Navajos, so do many other cultures. Use them, be discreet about using these crystals and know what's going on. Before anyone attempts to do this, they should be initiated in wisdom and knowledge. I've been given the dreams and the visions how to do this, and it's been working, bringing the rain and the snow. It's a great sunset this evening. The purple over there and the pinks and all that's talking about leadership and love and peace. The golden light is the light that's coming on the earth, they say, to hold down the bad sound, and that so the earth can heal. That's what that golden glow is. See all the pink right now. The energy is here to help us, and the spirits are here. It's everywhere. So this is the sacredness of the earth, how sound and light and vibration and the colors of the rainbow warriors are returning. Once we do these ceremonies, the rainbows will return. These sounds cause bad harmony to the earth. Takes things out of vibration and harmony. Puts that sound into the earth, and that's what vibrates here. That's what doesn't let the water come in. As to come in here, we pick anything up, make sure that it doesn't belong to another spirit. Ask their relations if we could use them for a purpose. Everything holds consciousness. We have respect for everything, then we have a great balance.
And today we're going to balance and clear and cleanse nature. So what you're doing now, put the water on, is with love, your femininity, and energizing it with your peaceful relationship as being a woman, because you carry more love than we do here as men. Because you're so kind-hearted and loving and caring with everything you do, soft and gentle. So that's what Mother Earth wants back, is the gentleness, the love, and the caring relationships for all things. And you have that. So when you touch that water, that's what that water becomes. She's a woman, so she has more tender, caring thoughts, and she has clarity and love and peace. So the men are overrunning and overpowerful and hurting others at certain times, like myself, talking bad, ordering people, telling them what to do, how to do this, how to do that. And the messengers of the Great Spirit, Mother says, now's the time to suggest how to do something and not run over one another and persecute them and hurt their feelings.
Sacred fire, sacred sand, sacred water, sacred land.
How was that for an insert?
That was good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
On the insert?
Mm-hmm. Well, on anything.
Yeah. I thought it was cool how they thought they should respect the earth and how earth is living just how we are. Like, earth has a heartbeat. We have a heartbeat, and you can hear the heartbeat in the trees and the ground and basically everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, first time you came over here, we talked about things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see where we're going with this. What would you like, is there anything you want to talk about? You get us going here?
Well, I like to respect the trees, the plants, and the animals. Because people, like hunters, they kill animals for fun, which there's no point. They hang it up on a wall as a trophy when it could have been living at the time. I mean, what's the point just to kill an animal for fun? They're living just as we are.
You're a little young, but do you watch the news sometimes?
The news?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know this congresswoman got shot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So how do you feel about gun control? What kind of guns should people have, do you know?
I think you should have a license and to own a gun, which they do. And I don't know, like guns, they shouldn't just like give them out to anybody if you have a license. Like, you should have to go through stages to get a license for a gun to make sure you couldn't be a threat in any way.
There's a low blow on my part. You didn't ask. I didn't know I was going to ask you that either. So if you was to go hunting, are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm not a vegetarian.
Uh-huh. But if you go hunting, how many bullets do you think you need? Would you go hunting?
I don't think I would go hunting.
You wouldn't go hunting, yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like when we eat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You go to these places and people throw all that food away.
Yeah, it's a waste.
They died for nothing.
Yeah, the animal died for nothing, just to have a bite out of and thrown away because they didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else was there? Initially when we talked about that cool teacher that you have.
Yeah, Mr. Floric.
Uh-huh.
They teach us astronomy for like 3 weeks.
Astronomy.
About space, black holes, and meteors and meteorites.
You know, the funny thing is you can actually work astronomy in with the Earth because it's all connected, you know. Did you hear about that? Well, the Earth moved a little bit, so it threw up the, oh, what's the word? The compasses don't work right anymore, so they had to adjust the Tampa, the airport in Tampa, Florida, because the Earth isn't quite where it was, yeah.
That's cool. They said, like, in astronomy, when we were learning about it, that if, like, the Earth was tilted 2 more inches, that we'd have, like, another ice age and extremely long summers that were extremely hot, just from the off-balance of the tilt of the axis.
So what do you say to the people that say global warming is all in your head?
It's not all in your head. It's real.
Yeah. It's really interesting to get your perspective because you're so young, you know.
Yeah.
You take a lot of older people. We see you young guys and girls, and we never think about your line of thinking and how we need to consider that, you know.
Yeah.
So if you had a chance to go to a ceremony, would it be something you like to do?
Like a native ceremony? Like a rain dance or a sun dance?
Well, you know what a Sundance is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as non-natives, we can't go to Sundances.
Yeah.
But kind of like what Blue Thunder did.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there is a site like that, maybe 8 miles from where we live. So if he ever shows up, maybe we'll take you up there and
that'd be cool.
We do something like that. Yeah. And let's see what else.
We were talking about spirit animals when I visited, and like how you match an animal to your personality. And yours was a crocodile, and mine was a tiger. Because I like to take cat naps, and I like to sneak around sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm good at sneaking around.
Yeah, we were just talking about how cats know where their bed is.
Yeah.
Catnip.
You kind of have to give them a signal to let them know. Like.
Yeah, so how do you know where your bed is? Catnip, huh? Yeah. And you have lots of brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Juan and Jonathan and Andrew.
And Joshua.
And Joshua and
Lily.
And Lily. And Lily likes fairies.
Yeah.
And Andrew, hey, next week we're gonna show. Actually, we could do that now. We'll just show. Andrew was here and he did a wonderful Picasso painting. We'll put that on the end here.
Yeah, he showed me that. He told me he did it in school.
Yeah, we just we got like a minute. I think I have enough time to put him on here. So why don't we do that? We put Andrew and his painting on here.
Okay.
And then all we have to do is say, see you next week.
So, see you next week?
So thank you for helping, and I'm your brother Andrew in Picasso.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Flipcam studio control room, and you started taking editing classes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how to do editing classes. You're smarter than me, yeah. So by the end of the year, you'll be done.
Yes.
You know all of that, yeah. So, anything else you want to tell people?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, well, hey, we'll take another picture, picture of your picture here. It sure is pretty. And we'll put it on there at one point. Thank you.
Welcome.
It's part of why I planted roots there. And if we do our part, fulfill our mission we've had from the start. Lillian, Miss Lillian, we'd like to thank you for all the fun while you took